All right, it's Friday, June 9th. This is an end of the day and end of the week SPY recap, and today we end up with a two-up bar that reached a key major target, and it kind of paused, ending the day with a bit of a kind of a neutral doji look here. It could be the start of a potential failure, but we'll find that out into next week. In terms of the big picture, I've been talking about for a long time now, ever since we've been in this consolidation area, how we're going to possibly broaden out into this and reach this target. And I've been anticipating that on all these up months, and now we've reached that target. It doesn't mean we have to reverse there. It just means that that's a potential area for a reversal, given that that was a target, and now we watch and see. But the month of June at the moment still nicely green. So in terms of the bigger picture, we really have to kind of turn this month back to red and start lower if that's going to be a major turnaround. But in terms of the weekly chart, we end the week with a bit of another green week. That's 1, 2, 3, 4 in a row to the upside. But if we start failing on the daily chart, which I'll get to in a second, we could get a 2-down week into next week, and that might be the start of something. You have some gaps in here where we can fill. It just might be a normal pullback reaching a target, and then if we don't really turn that monthly chart red, then we can reverse right back up and start heading up into other bigger picture targets. So we'll find that out, or we might not even reverse at all. We might stay here, and it's just maybe a one-day pause, and we continue much higher. And if we can't really reverse at this major target, that means on the monthly chart we have to start looking at some of the next targets in play, which is really all the way up here, kind of to that 40. I can't read it. The 4,600 area. I mean, there's a whole. This is kind of where we're heading next if we really, don't fail here and we want to continue higher. But it would be very logical to pause up here either way. So we'll find out what happens. So what's going to happen here on next week is we have this little neutral bar. We kind of were trying to break out of a 4-day range. So if we get a 2 down, that would be kind of a chain reaction maybe to target the low of this range, and then if we target the low of that range, then that all of a sudden gives us a 2-down week to start out. So we're going to kind of be on the lookout for that, and it almost seems likely that that's going to happen here. And so maybe we're going to get a little bit of a weekly pause area here before we decide whether we want to continue higher from this red line or really reverse in the bigger picture. In terms of today's price action on the 15-minute chart, I mean, we had that up opening here, and then we went up on bar 2. If you were trading it and wanted to be real aggressive, just with continuation from yesterday's big green bar here, then you had to know that this was your target, and we've been talking about that for a long time. So it's not a shock that that's where you reached and that's where you paused. And then once you had the big red bar, then you kind of paused here, you were starting up, and then you had the big red bar. At that point, you just kind of went neutral for the rest of the day. And you really didn't get a major failure that took out the midpoint of this range and went to the bottom of the range. And at the same time, you didn't really continue higher once you reach your target. So big week next week to see what happens. Can't predict it for sure, but we know that there's a potential, reversal in play here, or at least a short-term pullback opportunity. So if we get kind of a 2-down day below this area, then that kind of targets back through this range to the bottom of this area. Maybe can give us a 2-down week. We'll be looking for that early in the week. And then that could get us back into this gap before maybe, if you spread this out, you can get the sense that we've headed up here, reach a target. You can pull back into this area pretty comfortably and keep that uptrend, but then we'd have to look for reversal days. So, a lot will unfold as the month of June comes to an end, but for now, maybe it's, it's a logical pause area, so we'll just have to see how things start next week.